Can you get more time? No. Can you manage the time that you got? Yes. It takes leadership. The key with time being finite is it's not how much you've got, it's what you do with it. And are you utilizing the time you've got and heading towards what it is you're after? So, if we're talking radical abundance, then some would say that I've got an abundance of time. And I've got the same 24 hours as you do. So we all have the same amount of time. It's what we do with it.
Welcome to Radical Abundance. Who doesn't want more time in their life? Well, today's guest, Les Watson, is all about adding more time and productivity to make your life enjoyable and purposeful. Welcome to the show, Les.
Great to be here, Teresa. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Why don't you just start us off telling us a little bit, just briefly in a nutshell, who's Les Watson?
Aha. I'm known as the Time Lord. That's a funny story about that, but we'll do that another time. And I came through a whole lot of personal development. There was a time in my life when I was just lost. I called myself Drifting Dennis. That's how bad I was. I just was aimless and I didn't have any purpose and I wasn't achieving anything. And then I did some very powerful personal development. And one of those personal development seminars that I participated in was on time management, and it changed my life. So it had a lot to do with goals, a lot to do with planning, a lot to do with systems, and I got some structure in my life, and the rest is history. I created my own training company in Sydney, Australia, and I'm currently just outside of Melbourne, Australia, running my company, new one called Get More Time and Creating Success Coaching, and having a blast.
Well, this show is all about radical abundance. We talk about an abundance of joy and love and vision and purpose and all of those things. But most people always say they don't have enough time. And it's hard to say that there's an abundance of time because it does seem quite definite and finite. But you're saying you can actually tell us how to get more time, like more than 24 hours? What does that even mean?
Yes. What does that mean? So can you get more time? No. Can you manage the time that you got? Yes. And
Aha.
it takes leadership, and I'll talk a lot about that. However, uh, the key with time being finite is it's not how much you've got, it's what you do with it. And are you utilizing the time you've got and heading towards what it is you're after? So if we're talking radical abundance, then some would say that I've got an abundance of time. And I've got the same 24 hours as you do, as the President of the United States, as the Prime Minister of Australia, as the Prime Minister of England. So we all have the same amount of time. It's what we do with it. And there are certain things you can put into your day to give you back some of that time to then divert that time to where you want it to be. And that comes from you being in charge of your time, not being at its beck and call. So, one of the things that I talk to people about is, do you have a trusted system? And I could dive straight in. It's like trusted system. It's like, what is a trusted system? So, do you have a planner? Do you have a diary system that you work with? So, where do you take those ideas that you have that you want to do, or some of the tasks that you want to achieve in your day, in your week, in your month, in your year, and not keep it in your head? Actually, take it out of your head, put it down onto paper, and put it into a trusted system. Now, I've got a paper based system. I also have an app based system. So I'm not saying you have to do paper. I find that paper works for a lot of people. It's very kinesthetic. It's that thing of writing. And again, I'm not 21, so I grew up in an era of writing, and I love just the kinesthetic one of getting a good pen and a good piece of paper and just doing a whole lot of writing. So the thing is, what's on your mind? And if you've ever had the situation where you get too much on your mind and you can't think, you get that stuff of, oh, I've just got so much in my head I can't think. I just can't think. So the key of that one is to do what I call a data dump. Get it out of your head, down onto paper. The guy that trained me, his name was David Allen, and he has this cycle of completion or cycle of productivity. And it's any thought that you've got that you haven't started, something you've started, not continued, continue, not finished, finish, not acknowledged. And if that cycle of those four things is broken in any place, it creates an incompletion. And those incompletions sit on your shoulder like little imps going, Teresa, what about me? Teresa, what about Teresa? Teresa, hey, yep, oh, what, yep. Oh, I know your folks there, but what about this? And what about that? So we end up being distracted by all those things that are left undone. So I'm suggesting get it out of your head, down on the paper, and then once it's there, the normal thing that happens is people go, I'm in overwhelm now. I had no idea that I had so much in my head. I've got so much to do. I'm overwhelmed. So I go, wait a minute. You don't have to do it all in one fell swoop. You don't have to do it straight away. But the simple fact that you got it out of your head down onto paper, a whole lot of people turn around and go, ooh, that feels different. That feels amazing. I feel lighter. So they actually feel like they can get stuff done now. So once you get out of your head down to paper, then you can do 4 or 5 things with it. First thing is there anything on the list that you can delete? Teresa, it's been on the list for 12 years. I think it's time to let it go. No, I don't want to let it go, Liz.
Maybe I'll do it today. You never know.
It's my favorite. Yeah, but you haven't done it in 12 years. Oh, okay. So by letting it go, what you end up doing is allowing that energy that you're holding onto that thing you weren't doing, freeing the energy up and doing some of the things you want to do, that you can do, that you're willing to do. So that's number one, delete. Second one is there are any 2-minute jobs on your list that you can get done really quickly. Bang, 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 get the 2 minutes. Bang, I got that one done, that one done, that one done. And you end up getting on a productivity wheel of, wow, this really works. I feel productive. So from deletions, 2-minute jobs to single action items. Your single action items are those that are longer than 2 minutes and not a project. So I used library book, but you take a library book, you put it in the car, you drive to the library, you put it through the slot, and you drive home again. That task is longer than 2 minutes, but not a project. And project has more than one action to it. For most people, it's a garage. I'll just go and do the garage. And they open the door and they go, yeah, nah, and close it back again. Why? Because they thought it was one thing, but it's actually 40 things. So they get really, they get confused and they get anxious and they go, no, I'm not going to do it right now. So that becomes a project. And the two questions to ask yourself in a project is simply, what's the end result you're trying to achieve? And what's the single next action step you can do? So a couple of things there, out of your head, down to paper. Can you delete? Single action items, 2-minute jobs, single action items, and projects. So there you go.
Well, that's already a lot of really great information, Les. And so I'm wondering, I know that you wrote a book about this because people are listening and they're saying, oh, yeah, I've got to do that. Tell us about the book real quick so that people can get the notes.
The book is really easy. It's called Get Back an Hour in Every Day. And it's the A to Z of being more productive. And it's more an A to Z. It's more a dictionary. So you can go, having trouble with meetings. Look up meetings and go, oh, you're giving me some tips. I've got a problem with procrastination. And you can look it up. So it's a coffee table book. On the left-hand side, it's got great pictures and great quotes. On the right-hand side is the A to Z. So you can just pick it up, put it down, pick it up, and put it down, pick it up, and put it down. I had one particular interviewer say, oh, not another time management book. And when I sent it to her, she went, this is awesome. This changed my life. And she turned around, she said, whatever you do, just buy Les's book. And I went, well, that's a great endorsement. She said, it changed my life. It'll change your life too. I went, thank you. I'll take that.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great endorsement. Yeah, because people who need to read your book are probably thinking, I don't have time to read a book about time management,
Yes, I'll do a
But if
time management session when I get time to do a time management session.
right, whenever that's going to be. One of the things that you said about just getting it down on paper, I have practiced that principle for a number of years. And you know what? It actually helps me get a better night's sleep. If I have something on my mind, I can't go to sleep until I can put that item in a safe place that I can pick it up tomorrow. And I don't have to do it tonight. I just have to put it away somewhere safe. Then I can say, "Oh, great, it'll wait for me. It'll be there tomorrow." And I can sleep well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and
Mhm.
it's very true. So that's a daytime and a nighttime thing. So you've got both going on. People have both going on. So I can't focus on one thing because I've got so many things. And you just translate that into nighttime. I can't sleep because I've got so much going on. If you get it out of your head, the last thing you do prior to leaving your desk of an afternoon, whatever time that is, let's just say for giggles sake that it's 5:30, and since when do we leave the desk at 5:30? However,
Right.
if we're leaving at 5:30, let's say the last thing is 5:15, we plan each day the day before. So plan tomorrow, have a look at tomorrow and check it out. So when you're at your desk, you go, oh, I've got that meeting, I've got that meeting, I've got that meeting, and I've got these tasks I need to do tomorrow. And you write them on tomorrow's schedule. So I can leave my desk knowing what's coming up and confident that the things I need to get done can get done. Teresa, you said the same thing. I'm about to go to sleep and I've got stuff on my mind. Okay, I'm going to write it down. So as you write them down, you go, hey, Teresa, or hey, Les, just know that this will get done tomorrow and you don't need to worry about it. So why don't you go and get a good night's sleep and relax and we'll handle it tomorrow? And you go, oh, okay then. So you then have a good night's sleep and get up the next day and there's your list in front of you. You go, oh, he was right or she was right. And you're then able to tick those things off your list.
Right, absolutely. I don't know if other people who are listening are in a situation like me. My husband and I, we are both really busy people, and we don't see each other a lot during the day. And so when we get together in the evening, we start talking about all of those things. And so you not only have the daytime tasks you have to do for work, and whether you're self-employed or employed, whatever that is, but then you have all the family stuff too. And a lot of times that is discussed in the evening, and it can really kind of just change the whole mood of the time when you should be spending time with the people you really care about. And so if you have a system of being able to tuck that stuff away, say, okay, yeah, this stuff is important. Let's put it on the list. And now, what's more important than those tasks that need to be done? Let's focus on the people who are right in front of us.
Nice. And that's that thing that mine's a paper-based planner. So there's a particular brand that I have and I'm holding one up and it's for me it's A5. So it's not a personal, which is half an A5, and an A5 is kind of half of A4. So those sorts of measurements, and it just works for me. So when I'm doing that with my wife and we're having dinner, I'll have my planner or a piece of paper that I can write it on and I'll just transfer it to my planner or my planner's with me. I'll just go, that's a great idea. I'll write it in, forget about it. So, as you
Right.
say, you can be present with the people that you are meant to be present with. And you can do the same in any meeting, in anyone that you're interacting with, and particularly as parents with kids. And oh, it just annoys me so much when you watch adults with kids and they're always on the phone. It's like you're not being present. It's like you either have time with the kids or don't have time with the kids. Dilutes it if you're going to do both.
Yeah, absolutely. Les, I'd love to share a story with you. It's a little bit of a different perspective on time, but it's a lesson I learned a long time ago. And in
Please,
some ways, it might feel like the opposite of what we've talked about so far, but I would love to get your perspective on this
please
story.
go right ahead.
Um, a, a number of years ago, I took a Bible study program. And in that Bible study program, I learned the fact that as a Christian, I believe that I live in eternity. I don't just have these few years that I have in my physical body on this physical earth, but I am already living in eternity, because when my physical body is done, I go immediately, I drop it like an old coat, and I'm living in glory with a brand new body that hopefully I like a little better. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, I remember one time, I don't even remember where I was, but there was this old woman and she wanted to talk to me. and I had stuff to do. And she obviously wanted, I think she was lonely. She just wanted some of my time. And I'm thinking in my mind, I don't have time for this. I have ABC to do, you know? And then I realized, wait a minute, Teresa, you have not only all the time in the world, you have all the time in the eternity. I absolutely have time for a lonely person right now. And yes, we all do have important tasks to do. But is there anything more important than the human connection that is right in front of us? And one of the things about managing those tasks well, you don't feel quite so much pressure to get those things done, and you can feel a little bit more free to say, yeah, you know what, I have all the time in the world. In fact, I have all the time in eternity. Let me, spend these next few moments with you. I'd love to hear, what do you think about that?
There's a couple of things with it. First of all, don't pack your day so tight that you can't have interruptions. So there are people that need you, people that want you. And from a Christian perspective, there are people that God puts across your path that you need to spend time with that you don't have in your calendar right now, that you don't have in your agenda, that God has that on your agenda and it's not in front of you. So if God puts someone across, you don't go, excuse me, I'm doing this. And no, that's not what you do. You kind of go, okay, is there time for this? And if I move that slightly and bump that one, I could fit time in here. Okay, let's go. So it is a thing of, as I get up of a daytime, my wife and myself, as we get up, we say, I wonder what God's got in store for us today. This is really interesting. And it's every single day. Jeremiah 29 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. The key in that is God's got a plan for you. So you want to make God laugh? Show him your plans. But I've
Right.
got my day mapped out, Lord. It's like, yeah. Good, thanks, but we're going to do something different. And I laugh at that because often we hold on to our schedules so tight and it's packed so tightly that's like anyone that kind of taps on the door or comes in and it's like, can I have 5 minutes? No, I'm really busy. That's not the way to do life. You've got to allow breathing space. You've got to allow those unexpected, those angels that drop in, or people that drop in, you could be an angel too. So it's really important that you allow God to show up in your world. So you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Well, time, I think, is one of the most valuable resources we have because it has so much potential and we do have the ability to manage it well. For people who are self employed, and a lot of the folks who listen to this show are writers, speakers, there's all kinds of folks, people in ministry who listen to this show, and then people who work a regular day job and things like that too. But when you're your own boss, so to speak, or managing your own time. And even if you're working for someone else, frankly, your time is one of the things that you do still have to manage. How do you be the boss of yourself?
Choice. It's like step
Mm,
up. Often I will say that we all want to be leaders, even if it's just leading the dog. So we all want to lead, and sometimes we are reluctant leaders or we're pushing leadership away, but really we are the leader of our own life. So if you are the leader, then lead. So rather than be on the back end of life, be on the front foot with life, choose decisions. I always say there are times when you get a decision in front of you, make a decision. You didn't get to be where you are in life or ministry by making bad decisions. You make good decisions, so back yourself on this one as well and make a decision. A lot of people tend to fall into procrastination or prevarication or just put things off. And I go, hey, let's make a decision out of, let's take email or paperwork, for example. There's a choice of four things: do, dump, delegate, or decide when. I'll say it again: do, dump, delegate, or decide when. If you can do it in 2 minutes, do it. If it's spam, then dump it. If it's not yours and you need to delegate to somebody, delegate it and delegate it nicely with time frames and outcomes. And there's a whole thing that I can talk about that. And if it's yours and you can't do it within 2 minutes, then decide when you're going to do it, put it into your diary, decide when. So do dump, delegate, and decide when.
For some of us, that decision to delegate is really hard, and I have to
Mm,
tell you, I for a lot of my life, I have been a self-proclaimed control freak, and, even though self-proclaimed, there are plenty of people who will testify, yeah, that's true, and it has been through learning how to delegate and accepting someone else's way of doing something and their version even of the finished product. Sometimes it's even better than what I had in mind, and sometimes I say, well, we need to collaborate this on a little bit more. It all depends on the desired outcome. But
yep.
learning to delegate is so important.
Yep. And that's again that part of leadership. So as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, as small business, we often take it upon ourselves. And we have a saying here in the Watson household, and that is your independence is making you sick. So it's not about you. It's not about you. What if someone's trying to give you a hand, you're not letting them? And the other one is maybe there are people available that you can ask for help that you are not asking because of your ego. So
Mm.
it's all about being in it together. And as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, think about the amount of people that are around you that you engage to use their services to make your business run, or engage their services to make your life run. So it's not all about you. You are engaging it. Can you do it more? And particularly when it comes to email and pay, you could even do it with meal prep. Those sorts of things where you go, I could outsource that. I could outsource. In Australia, they did a survey and they said that the average Australian would pay up to $131 per hour to get back an hour a day. And that's an outsource function of, yep, I'd pay $131 for a person to do that for me. So sometimes you can get people to do it for free. Sometimes you're paying people, but can you outsource? Because, for example, if you are $100 an hour and you're doing a $50 hour task, it's not good use of your time. So that's not leverage, that's wastage. So, based on that, be the leader, step up and go, how do I delegate this? And the comeback, the greatest comeback is, oh, but in telling them what to do, it takes time and it's just quicker if I do it myself. No, if you're doing it more than once, then tell them how to do it and then they take that task off your hand. So even if it's 20 minutes and it's a 2-minute task, if they do it 10 times, there's your money back. And guess what? They keep going with it. So you're ahead of the game. So leadership is
Yeah.
a major, major, major key when it comes to looking at time, working with time, and the leverage around time.
What I love about that concept too is that you're speaking into the life of another human being and you're giving them an opportunity to eventually get maybe to where you are or to where they would like to be in the future. Sure, they are wherever they are doing that, task that's
Right.
what, $15 an hour minimum wage, whatever it is. But as you are enabling them and empowering them to learn something new, to do something more, you're giving them an opportunity to learn and grow. And this world isn't about seeing how much I can do by myself. We're in this together, folks.
Yep.
God's
Yep.
made us a people of fellowship. And
Mm.
Ecclesiastes 4 talks all about two are better than one, and one can
Yeah.
fall down and they have a better return for their work. All of that kind of language. It's not all about doing it by yourself. Yes, I'm an American and we're all about independence and all of that type of stuff. But the majority of the world actually has more of an approach of having household help to do some of those tasks, and they're more willing to outsource things. And even when you were talking about having the same number of hours a day as the president and the prime minister and all of those
Mm.
people, my first thought was, yeah, but those folks have a team. But you know what? We can have a team
Right.
too, and we can be on someone else's team. In fact, we
Yep.
probably are. That's the fact.
Indeed, and ask. It's a big thing to step off your ego and ask. And the more you ask, the more you get. Because when I'm in a room full of people in a training, I'll say, how many of you, if someone asked you for help, would give them a hand? And all these hands go up. I go, keep your hand up if you are a sort of person that doesn't ask for help? And all the hands stay up. It's like, hold on. If you're not going to ask for help, how are people going to help when you're the one that's wanting to help? That doesn't work. It's got to be this person not wants to help and this person needs help, then ask, because there's people around you that are willing to help. And all you need to do is ask.
Right, right, absolutely. Well, we've talked a lot about um, a lot of these different ways of being more intentional about our time. And I'm just wondering, okay, so we've talked about, you touched on email, and I know that email, I've heard you talk about it before, is such a big time waster for people. Why is it that we spend so much time in our email boxes, or even just wandering around our computers in general? We get a lot of screen time in, and I'm not sure, are we actually doing anything?
That's good, Teresa. And it does come down to those decisions, because it's, I'm not sure if I need to make a decision on this, or I'm not sure if I want to make a decision on this. Whereas I'm saying, pull up the big girl panties and pull up the big boy panties and make a decision, because the more decisions you make, the more productive you're going to be. And you go, well, that wasn't so bad. Why? Because you made a decision and it didn't fall over. You made a decision and it didn't fail. So back yourself. The more you back yourself, the more you'll find that you will be successful. And yes, we fall over. Yes, we have failure, but it doesn't define us. The actual mistakes that we make are the learning and the stepping stones that God has to make us better. That's like those things kind of, I knew that you were going to do that. What did you learn? And let's not do that again. So it becomes a learning thing. And I love that. It's like God's actually on your side. God wants you to create good things and have a good life. He's not the angry God. A lot of people go, "Oh, God's angry at me." No, he's not. God loves you. So
No.
based on that, how do you use time to have a good life and work with people? So I'll give you one thing, and that is, it can come down to as simple as A and B priorities. A priorities are those things that you need to get done, because if they don't get done, the brown smelly stuff is going to hit the round twirly thing. And no one wants the poo to hit the fan. So based on that, you get your A's done early. Now, A's are things like, if it doesn't get done, you're going to lose reputation, lose money, lose a client, lose a contract. Those are A's. Ever had the situation where you're about to go to bed of a night time and you put your head on the pillow and you go, oh, that was a great day. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to pay that bill. And you've got to get up, you got to fire up the computer again. And it's like, because if you know if you don't pay that bill, it costs you an extra $150, and no one's got time for that. So you get up and do it. Now, that's an A, and you know you need to get it done. So why not get the A done early? And I always suggest people do your A's as soon as you can in the day, because we know that things are going to happen. We know that interruptions are going to happen. So get your A's done and get them out of the road. B's are anything that's not an A, and the B's sometimes turned away tomorrow, and that's okay, because the day has a bracket on it. The day has an end point. If you don't pay this by 11:59, that's the end point. So those things that go, oh, I don't need to do it today, I can do it tomorrow. Great, then feel free to do it tomorrow. And if you get some of the B's done today, fabulous. If not, and they turn it away tomorrow, not a problem. A's and B's.
Right.
Prioritization is very simple. It doesn't have to be A, B, C, D, and E. It can be as simple as A's must get done today, B's can get done tomorrow.
I love that, doing them first thing in the day. But what if I don't want to? Les, the A's aren't fun. The B's are way more fun. Can't I do the B's first?
Leadership, 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 leadership. Now, the B's can set you up. If you do 3 minutes of B's and put a timer on it. Timers are fabulous. We've all got our phones and the timers on our phones. So you just said, I'm going to do 5 minutes of B's before I get into my A's, because I know that with the timer, it has an end time to it. So then once I've done that, I've started to get into the swing of things and I go, this is quite good. Where's that A? Brian Tracy wrote a good book called Eat That Frog, and it's all
Aha.
about doing the hard things first. And given the choice of two hard things or two frogs, eat the ugliest one first. However, that's all about just taking the biggest. We all have it. It's like, I don't want to do that task. Well, you can drag that thought and that anxiety all the way through the day and have it be an undercurrent and sap your energy. Or you can get it done first up and your energy immediately comes back and you go, woohoo, thank you, Lord, let's go. And we get on with the rest of the day and we get to bless other people rather than being the sad sack. So what's wrong with you? I've got to do this thing and I don't want to do it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Get it done and get on with it.
Well, what do you say about setting up a reward? Once I eat this frog, I can have the cake. Can I do that? Is that okay?
Oh, rewards are great. And it doesn't have to be. I love the eating one. Eating's good. But those of us that are looking at our weight, it's like, I can't reward myself with food every time, Les.
No.
Really, give me something else. For example, you could give yourself a walk around the block. You can give yourself a magazine. You can give yourself a lippy, whatever. I don't really mind what it is. But we all do it. For example, the majority of us get to the end of the year and go, that was a good year. Let's have a holiday. So we reward ourselves with a holiday. You can take it from the bigness of a holiday and bring it all the way down to, I give myself a tick. I can give myself a highlight. I can give myself a fizzy drink. I can give myself that nut bar that I've been wanting to have as a reward for doing that particular task that was big and weighty and had a big ugly face on it, but I killed that sucker and I'm going to move on now and I need to reward myself. What am I going to do? I'm going to get a massage.
There you go. I cannot believe that our time for talking about time is almost at an end. Les, what can you just leave us with that'll really help to enhance the time we do have and make it more abundant?
I think uh, I mentioned it earlier. We mentioned it in the beginning. I'm going to wrap it up with it as well, and that is be the leader. Time is
Mm.
something that is across everyone's life, and we need to interact with it. Therefore, be the leader and have some fun with it. It doesn't have to be onerous. The more that you make decisions, be the leader, make decisions, be the leader, you'll find that the more productivity you'll have and the more productive you'll have because you start to get stuff done. If it's lined up with your goals, if it's lined up with where you're headed, you start to go, I now know why I'm doing this. So grab some goals, put them down. I've got a giveaway. Can I tell people about that now?
Please.
My giveaway is I've got a download. It's free. It's called 25 Time Tips for Busy People. Just a one pager of all of these things that are not necessarily rocket science or brain surgery. They are very simple tools and tips that you can put into your day to give yourself back more time. So it's a free download. You just put in your name and an email address, and you can immediately download it. So do that. As you hear it, get off the podcast and go, I'm going to download it. So do an action. That's one of those 2-minute jobs. You just go, yeah, I can get that done and download it. And let's have a conversation. Get in touch. My details will be in the show notes as well. I'd love to find out how I might be able to help and anything else I can do with any of the listeners.
Well, that's great, Les. Thanks so much. And I have to get off the show because I've got to go download those tips. I need that in my life. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
All right, Les, you have a radically abundant day.
Thanks very much. Bye bye.